Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we had a request from our fantastic Facebook community and it reads like this. I need some help to create a button that whenever I post something and I press the button, it doesn't log me out and I can continue posting orders. The order can be sent to the kitchen and get me to the main screen so I can open another check if needed. At the moment, whenever I press the send or print buttons, it logs me out and I have to put in my PIN again and select the revenue center. Please let me know if something like this is possible. Thank you very much. That is a great question. And if you have a question yourself, please leave it in the YouTube comments below, or better yet, join our fantastic Facebook community where you can interact with myself and 100 other hospitality experts, and you can get answers to the questions you may have. It's free and open for everyone to join, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Now, the behavior that he is asking for is not actually a button, but it's a setting. And there is a button that we can also add that can help us stay in the check, but it will only send it. And that behavior is called send and stay. And I'm going to cover both of them today, and I'm going to show you on the workstation how each of them behaves. And really quick, I wanted to remind you guys about our online learning platform. You can find training and support for Symphony at simsupport.online. I'll leave a link to it in the description below and a coupon code as a special thank you. And with that, let's get back to the video. When it comes to the first behavior that he was describing, where you send a check and you stay signed into the workstation, we have to have a discussion around employees because the setting is related to that. So I'm going to open up employee maintenance in EMC, and you can open this up at any level in Symphony, but I prefer to open it at the enterprise level under the configuration tab. Here under personnel, we're going to open up employee maintenance. I'm going to do a quick search to populate my database. And regardless if you are going to be using this for you're using EMC to manage your employees or you're using enterprise labor management, these settings will be present there no matter what. So I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find my user here. I'm going to open it up. And then the first item we're going to be taking a look at is roles. Now, the role, it will define the power that you have in the POS. So are you allowed to void? Are you allowed to open checks? Whatever you're allowed to do is controlled by the role. Now, the thing that we're looking for is going to be here under property summary, and it's called employee classes. Now, employee classes controls other behavior at the workstation. And we have several employee classes here in the dropdown. I have manager, bartender, server, and host. So we'll take a look at employee classes next. I'm going to go back to the home page. Open the employee classes, which can be found only at the property level. And again, here under personnel, you're going to see employee classes. Now notice that my employee class here was manager. So that's why I showed you where you find employee classes so we know which one to change. Because if you're trying to change the behavior of an employee that has a server class, we're going to have to work on the server class. For now, I'm going to take a look at, since mine is manager, I'm going to take a look at the manager one. And we're going to double click the rectangle here to open the details. And in the first general tab, you're going to find a couple of items. These are related to cash management and then server banking, stuff like that. We're going to go to the operator records. Now, first, we have the multiple revenue center where we can work. So I have a restaurant and a bar. And then there's an operator type. Now, this is a drop down that you can select by round or on demand. Most of the time we have this selected as on demand. This is related to printing. So either you want one big check with all the menu items on it, or if you select it by round, it's going to print individual slips with each menu item. So what we're going to be taking a look at is the option bits here. So I'm going to click the little 3 ellipses, and these are the option bits that we have present. So what we can do here is control the behavior of the employee. For example, if you want a table number to be entered when they open or pick up a check. So if this is a server and you want them to always enter a table number, then you will probably want checkbox number 1 to be on. If you want them to declare the number of guests when they open a new check, you're going to have to use checkbox number 2. But the one that we're looking at is number 8. So checkbox number 8, if we turn it on, the employee becomes a pop-up operator. So if I click on this, it's not a lot of details, but it says you can select the operator to be basically kicked out of the workstation at the end of the transaction. And this is exactly the behavior that he was describing. You hit send and you get kicked out. Now, this is good for security reasons. For example, if you don't want the employee to hit send and then walk away from the workstation, another employee right behind them comes in, they're busy, they don't pay attention, and they start ringing up a new check under the old employee's number. So if that happens, then you can leave this on. But also it can slow them down. So if an employee comes and they have 5 things to do at the workstation, instead of swiping their card 5 times, you can leave this off so they become a stay down operator. And then when they hit send, they will not be kicked off the main page. So if you want not to be kicked off, make sure number 8 is checked off. Now there is a sub option for this one, which is number 15. If you are a stay down operator, you can enable an auto pop-up timer. So what this does is kind of a security backup where you can set a timer. If the employee leaves the workstation and doesn't sign out after they finished operations, the system can set up a timer at an interval that you can set, let's say 10-15 seconds, where a prompt appears and says, hey, do you need more time? And if they don't answer that prompt, then they get auto logged off. So you can use this as a backup if you want, and you can set whatever timer you want for them. And I'm going to go ahead and click this. And then I'm also going to set it for the other revenue center. This is another thing because this is controlled by revenue center. A workstation in the bar is a lot more protected, so nobody will have access to it except the bartenders. So it's more safe to have your bartenders be stay down operators. And this can also happen with the guests. You know, God forbid a guest gets onto a workstation and they do something sneaky with a credit card or God knows what when they found one logged in. So a bar workstation will be a lot more protected behind the bar than a restaurant workstation, which is in a corner somewhere that nobody will possibly see. So you can control these options based on where the revenue center is. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And if you're wondering where that timer is, if you want to use option bit number 15, you will have to go property level, setup tab, workstations, select your workstation. And this is the timer, check inactivity timeout. So you can enter the number of seconds until the prompt appears that says, do you need more time? So basically you want to set it to maybe 10, 15 seconds or something like that to make it not very annoying for the employees, but enough that if they leave, they get kicked out after. And also there's another one right behind it that says check inactivity dialog timeout. So basically this is the amount of time that pop-out stays on the screen until the workstation cancels the transaction and leaves it out. So these are the 2 timers that you can set, and they are set via a workstation based. So let me close out my workstations here, and I can leave my employee classes open, and I'm gonna bring up the client, and let's take a look at the behavior now. Okay, so here we are at the workstation, and as always, I'm gonna click a quick update to get the latest information. I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. I'm gonna begin a test transaction. And then I'm going to order an American breakfast. Now, after I hit the send key, you see that I still stay signed in and I can open another check. Now, it will kick me out because I also had that option bit number 15 enabled. So let's take that off and see how it behaves then. So we're back in EMC. We're going to uncheck option 15. So this was our security to enable the pop-out timer, but also to kick us off the workstation if we don't do anything. So if I uncheck this box, and go ahead and save. Let's go back to the workstation and update, sign in, open up this check, order another American breakfast, go ahead and send it. And now I'm also staying on the screen, but I'm not going to get kicked off automatically because I don't have that option 15 enabled anymore. So it will leave me here. You know, if your employees are diligent, then you can leave them without that option. It's going to be less annoying for them. But if it ever happens that they leave their workstations open, then, you know, you'll have to take that away from them and enable checkbox 15. And now let's take a look at what happens when I enable the pop-up operator option. So now we're going to go ahead and enable option bit number 8 and make myself a pop-up operator. And unfortunately, we see this a lot, you know, in restaurants that are very, very busy. You have to have this enabled if there are any security concerns. And now that I have that enabled, let's go to the workstation. We're going to update and sign in. I can begin a new tab. I'm going to call this one test 2. And now I'm going to open an American breakfast and watch what happens when I send it. I get kicked off all the way off the screen. So there's no way that somebody can make a mistake and leave the workstation open. But also I have to sign back in, and I have an easy number. But if you have a very complicated number, then it's going to take you a while. You have 5 orders to put in. It will slow down service, and you're going to see a queue of people kind of sitting at the workstation and waiting to put in their orders. So a pop-up operator will send and immediately get kicked off the workstation. A stand-down operator will be able to stay signed in. And now finally, for the final behavior that we're going to take a look at, we're going to take a look at send and stay. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in and begin a new transaction here. And what I want to do is, not only do I don't want to be kicked off the workstation entirely, I don't even want to get kicked off this check. So I want this to be sent to the kitchen, but I don't want it to move me from this check at all. So this is very useful if you're sending drinks. So let's take a look at some drinks here. I'm going to go ahead and send an apple juice. And let's say that this apple juice is made by a bartender, or especially if you have a lot of drinks, like imagine you have a lot of cocktails and you have a big dinner order to put in at the same time. What you can do is you can actually send your drinks to the bar so the bartender can start making them. And as you're putting in the rest of your dinner order, then those drinks are already being made. So what the button that I'm going to be using is called send and stay. And I always have these programmed in my system. So notice here on the workstation, there's the apple juice and there's no symbol next to it, which means it was not sent. Now, after I hit send and stay, you're going to see this little angle here. And what this means is that this was sent in the current round. So if I hit send and stay again, what's going to happen is going to transform into a star. So that means it was sent in a previous round. So, I mean, either way, if you see a symbol, that means this is sent to the printer itself. So the bartender will already start cooking it. This can also be done with appetizers. If you have an appetizer that goes out pretty quickly, you can go ahead and ring up your appetizer. You want to send, let's say, 5 wings, and I want them buffalo, and I'm going to hit send and stay. So now the kitchen already started making this, and then I can go ahead and enter my entrees. So now I have time to enter everything that I want, and maybe there's like special requests in here, or I have to enter, different items for like steak or anything. So now your wings are already sent and cooking, and then you have plenty of time to enter the rest of your order. So I'll show you how to program the send and stay key, and let's jump back to EMC. So we're here back in EMC, and the first thing we want to do is add a new tender media. So I have my tender medias program at the enterprise level. Configuration tab, we're going to click on tender media. We're going to take a look and find our send key. It's right here. What you want to do is select that and then click the insert key here, send it to a position somewhere within the same range. And then I'm going to use a template, and then I'm going to say send and stay. Now I already have this programmed for myself, so I'm not going to add it. I just have it right here, but you can go ahead and click OK, and this will get copied. And then as for the settings, let's go ahead and open this up. In the general tab, the key type will be service total, and everything else will be 0. In the option bits, for printing, we're not going to print. Remember, this is only for sending. So there's nothing in credit cards, nothing here for tax. What we're going to take a look at here is ops behavior. So this is the operational behavior of how the button will go. And the checkbox that you want to have on is number 95. So notice send doesn't have option bit 95 enabled, but send and stay does have option bit number 95. So that's the only difference between them. If you copied send, you don't have to change anything else. All you have to do is come to ops behavior, check the box number 95, then go ahead and send. And now that you have your item added, what we're going to do is we're also going to add it to the page. So you can go to page design, and I have also mine defined at the enterprise level, but if yours is defined at the property level or somewhere else, go ahead and select that level. Open up page design. I'm going to open up my transactions page. I'm going to change the aspect ratio to 16:9 since I have widescreen workstation, so it looks the same. And the bottom bar here is my send and stay. So if you don't have enough space, notice how each button occupies one space. You can right click and you can change the size. So right now it's a 1 by 12 for me. Yours will be slightly different. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 1 by 13 because I need an empty slot. Now, you might not need to do this because you probably have it like 10 by 10 or something, so you can have space for another button. So I'm gonna right click, copy, and right click in the empty spot here, and then go ahead and click paste. And this is where they're gonna put my new button. So I copied my send and then just pasted it. So all you have to do is rename this one to send and stay. And then from the media type, it should already be tender media and it should be send. So I'm going to click the little arrow and I'm going to select the new send and stay that we just created and then click OK. You can also change the color slightly if you want to make it obvious which one send and which one send and stay. Although, you know, it will say on it, so they're going to know. So when you're done with this, go ahead and save and you can go ahead and test. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, please go ahead and give it a big like. That will make me understand what you guys like and what you don't like, so I know to get better in the future. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. And if you have any question, please leave it in the comments below or in our Facebook group. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.